Hey guys, it's Francis, and it is weekly collaboration time. And our theme this week was fairy tales. So here's a sneak preview of what all the other ladies have done. I will link all their information below so you can go check out their videos. Make sure that you show them some love. You like and subscribe. And if you're coming to me from one of their channels, then welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. Well, this week I was going for kind of a castle with a dragon and a beanstalk kind of look. And if you want to see how I got this look, just keep watching. So here I am. I have one coat of this Madly in Love, and it's fresh paint that I got at Five Below. And it's kind of showing a little washed up on my camera, but it is a peachy corally, kind of really bright in your face color. And I'm going to use this Winstonia plate, and I'm going to use a bunch of the images off of this plate. In fact, all the images come from this one, and I am using a kind of a big bling knockoff from Born Pretty store, and I'm using my Funky Fingers Dark Knight. And the first thing I'm going to do is get started with this castle image. I'm going to make sure that I get the entire image, and I'm going to fill it in and make a decal that I'm going to use across several fingers. And I got a beautiful pickup on the first try. I'm going to go ahead and lay this aside and let it dry up a little before I start to fill it in. Oh, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to clean off some of the mess around it. This is just regular old Scotch tape. And I'm just going to pick off those images that this parts of the image that I don't want. And then I'm going to take two gray polishes. One is Show Stealer and the other one is I Can Only Wear OPI. And I'm going to mix them together to create kind of a mottled gray. And I missed part of this. I don't know what I did. I wasn't filming, but I didn't catch the whole thing. But I'm coming in with this brush. I'm mixing these two colors together, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill in the image, starting with the larger brush, just to get the image in. And I don't know if you'll be able to see it so well, but I'm not going to be pulling on the image, but I'm going to be dotting it in. And then I'm going to come in with this real fine detail brush for any of the pieces that I might have missed. And that's why I really love using these clear stampers, because I can actually flip over the stamper head and look at my progress to see that I've missed anything. Because sometimes when you're looking at that side, you miss things and you don't even realize until you flip it over and there's a big old gaping hole. Well, not a big gaping hole, but there's a gaping hole. So I'm just going to fill in all these little pieces, whatever I might have missed. And then when I'm satisfied with how it looks, I'm going to drop it, and then I'm going to show you. And luckily I didn't mess it up, but it's all filled in. And while I'm waiting for that to dry, I put it aside to dry. I'm going to use that Madly in Love, and the other one is, I'll link it below. It's another Fresh Paints one, and it's another matte, kind of neon-y, purpley color. And I think Matte About You is the other one. I'm not sure which is which. But I'm going to be using these two clear stamper heads, and I'm going to be putting the colors on the clear stamper heads and smushing them together to make a smush on my nails. I wanted to go for kind of a dreamy background. And I thought that these two colors together made kind of a dreamy background, and I'm just going to put that on my nail. Oh, and I didn't show you, but I do have liquid latex around my nail to protect the cuticle area, because this is going to make a big old mess. And I like using the two stamper heads because then I'm not wasting as much paint. I found when I was using a matte that I had a whole bunch of paint that I just couldn't use, and it was driving me crazy. So this way I can actually use up all the paint that's on my stamper heads. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for the rest of the nails, and then I'm going to come back. There it is. And I'm going to put on a clear coat of Fast Dry Top Coat, and this is Out the Door that I got at Sally's. I'm going to go ahead and put that clear coat on to get ready for my next step. My next step is I'm going to actually, this is dry, so I'm going to come back in with a clear coat of polish, And actually what I am using is Super Dry from the dollar store. And I found that I don't like using this top coat to create decals unless I'm going to be using the decals right away. If I'm going to be waiting an hour or longer to use the decals, I find it to be too brittle. But if I'm going to be using it within a half hour, I find Super Dry works really well. So I'm going to come back with that plate, and I'm using Esmaltes de Kelly Topolino, which is a gray polish, a light gray polish. And I'm going to be coming in with these kind of dreamy looking clouds, and that will be my background on 4 out of my 5 fingers. My 4 fingers, and I'm going to leave the thumb empty from that stamping. And I'm just going to stamp these little clouds on those 4 fingers. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to stamp this dragon, and I am using Mundo de Uñas in green. And I'm going to make a decal out of this one as well. Same idea that I did with the other one, and I'm actually going to go ahead and stamp this fire as well. I'm going to put that aside. Actually, I'm not going to put it aside. I'm going to fill it in with yellow so that I have two-toned fire for my fire-breathing dragon. And I was saying I'm going to turn the dragon into a decal because if I stamped it on my nail as it was, it would be facing in the opposite direction. If I cover it with clear and turn it into a decal, then I can turn it around and use the other side, which is what I wanted to do in the situation. For here, filling in for the fire, I was anticipating using the brush from the polish, but it was way too big, so I went in with a fine detail brush. And then my last stamping over here is going to be that little beanstalk. And I'm just going to use a clear stamper. I'm going to clean up what I don't want, and then I'm going to pop that. Come on, clean it up, Francis. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop that, I believe, on my pinky. I love these clear stampers so you guys can see exactly where I'm putting things, but I'm popping that on my pinky. And that's how it looks, and my pinky is actually all done at this point. Now that my fire is dry, I'm going to go around and put clear really only on that orange because the orange is really, really dry. And then as soon as that clear dries, I can stamp it directly on my nail. I can do some reverse stamping that way. There I am. Go ahead and put that on my index finger. And I'm going to center it not in the middle, but right on the corner because I want that fire to be coming out of my dragon's mouth when I put that dragon on. And now my dragon is done. I'm testing to see if it's dry. And I want to say that I use a Super Dry on this as well, and I want to say that I left this about 10 or 15 minutes before I was able to peel it up. You have to be really careful because it is quite pliable at this point, but it is not brittle at all. I almost folded it in on itself. There was an oh boy moment right there. And then I'm struggling a little bit to get him on my finger. But there he is, my index finger. And then I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit so you can see I'm just using the back side of a cuticle, not a cuticle pusher, an orange wood stick to separate that decal from my actual nail, separate the edges of the decal from my nail so that I can go ahead and just lift everything off with the liquid latex. And I have a little bit of cleanup, but not a big deal. Okay, so now my castle is done. And like I said, this is going to go across multiple fingers. It's actually going to go across 2 fingers and my thumb. So I'm going to go ahead and very carefully lift this decal up. I was wondering, do any of you guys have any issue with clear polish on your stamper head? When I'm trying to create decals on these clear stamper heads like that, I find that the clear polish tends to run off, whether or not I'm using super dry or I'm using like Wet n Wild clear polish. It creates like empty pockets, if you can see there. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this decal. I'm going to pop the bottom part of it where the door up to the castle is on my thumb. I'm going to try and get that across my thumb. Now, if I had to do this again, I would have positioned it a little bit better, because in the pictures, it's hard to see the top of the decal. You'll see. But I'm just going to go across and cut off the top of the castle, because I want the turrets for the castle to pop on the tops on my middle finger and my my middle finger and my ring finger, because I want it to seem like those are in the sky along with my dragon. So what I did was I put 2 of them on my middle finger, and I'm going to cut that excess off, being very careful not to cut the actual piece. And there's a piece of hair on there. Guys, I don't have any pets, so I'm assuming that that is from one of the brushes. My brushes was shedding, but I thought it was hysterical. I don't have any animals. So then I'm going to go ahead and put this last little piece on my ring finger. And I'm sorry that I'm off camera, but I was having a difficult time positioning this one. It was ending up pretty crooked. So I spent a little bit of time placing it. I also didn't want the turret to I wanted the turret to be flush with the bottom of the free edge bottom of my nail, so that you weren't seeing any of the pink peek through at the bottom. So I was really kind of focused on getting that in order. So this positioning took me a little bit longer than I anticipated, but still not a big deal. So I'm going to push those with my finger, and now I've got everything placed on my nail. And then I'm going to come in with some cuticle scissors and cut around and trim that up a little bit. And here I'm showing you, it's upside down for you guys, I'm sorry. But then I'm going to come in with my cleanup brush, which is a Wet n Wild smudge brush, and some pure acetone that I got from Sally's Beauty Supply. And I'm just going to come in around the edges and clean up. I'm going to do 2 things here. I'm adhering that decal to my nail with the acetone. The acetone helps kind of dissolve it into your actual nail around the edges. It helps it stick a little bit better. And then I'm going to be cleaning up around the cuticle so that I don't have a mess there. I know I use liquid latex, and I know some of these ladies are really great at getting that liquid latex off and they don't have any cleanup to do. I don't know whether my nails are just super curvy or I'm just not as great with the liquid latex as some other people are, but I always have at least some cleaning up to do. Not nearly as much as I would if I wasn't wearing it, but I always do have a little bit to do. And there I am, all cleaned up, and I really do like how this turned out. I'm going to be sealing in my design with some fast dry top coat. I really am happy with how this turned out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And I want to thank you guys so much for spending your time with me. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you guys again next time. Bye.